Hi everybody. This is the recording of the auction webinar. Just a quick tips on different auction houses out there and how you can bid on them and where you need to do your research so you can do your due diligence and be a smart bidder. So I'll go ahead and get started. Let's see. All right. So here's a list of some of the auction websites. And it's not all the auction websites, but it is a few of them and some of the most popular ones. You should never really have to pay a third party to get a listing of foreclosures or auctions. All of that information is out there for free, and here's most of it right here. Auction.com is a great website. You're able to look at all the other auctions that are, well, most of the other auctions that are also for sale. I use it as a search tool, especially for the auctions that are the Duval County foreclosure auctions, because their website is not as user friendly. So this one I can search on address and zip code or 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, the type of house or property I'm looking for. And it'll bring up just about all the auctions that I might find on Hubzu, Home Store, in the MLS, and their own and the city one. Hubzu.com is also another auction website. Usually those are in the MLS. It's really easy to use. It's very straightforward. It has a list of properties. I usually search by county. This way it doesn't miss like Jax Beach or Atlantic Beach or Neptune Beach. And it usually the auctions from 3 days to 7 days, and usually the highest bidder wins. But at the end of some of these auctions, they also have an extension so that if someone bids for in the last couple minutes of the auction, they'll extend the auction another 15 minutes. So sometimes they can go on and on and on. I think it's best if you just put your maximum bid in there and let it auto bid up into that and leave it alone, because you can get wrapped up in it. Another great auction website is the HUDHomestore.com, and that's where they have all the home houses. You'll see on that when you look in there that the homes are either listed as extended or exclusive. When they're exclusive, that means it's only owner occupants that can bid on those. They are for owner, it's the first 10 days usually, or sometimes 15. If they say extended, then that means it's open to everybody and owner occupants. Bid for assets, that's a fun one because it has all kinds of auctions. Some are city auctions, some are state auctions, some are government auctions, some are personal auctions, and it's properties, commercial and residential, and jewelry and cars and anything you can imagine throughout the United States, and some of them are in the world too, so you can really buy anything. Zone.com is also similar to Auction.com. It used to be Hudson and Marshall, but the difference with that one is that in order to bid, you have to put a $2,500 credit card binder on it, and then they return it right away within 24-48 hours after the auction. The only reason I mention it is that if you wanted to, you could if you wanted to, for every property that you bid on, you would have to put a $2,500 binder down. And if the auction's 10 days, then that's a $5,000 binder on your credit card for 10 days. So just to keep that in mind. Duval Real Foreclose and Duval Real Tax Deed. That's the city auction websites, and that's where you go where they are auctioning off property. When they say bought the property on the city steps, this is pretty much it's online now. And like I said, it's listed on the city webpage, and it's by calendar date, and then they're just in order, so it's a little cumbersome to search through that. GovernmentSales.gov is a great place for a bunch of for properties. eBay, of course, is a good auction thing. USA Gov Auction and Sales. more. These are, you can get Fannie Mae property, property the FDIC owns, home sales that the government's selling that they had, USDA, which is, there isn't many property in uh, Jacksonville area that are USDA, but almost all of St. Johns County is still USDA, so that's a good place to go. GSA auctions, government sales, government, IRS. These are government. They're seized property. They're tax seized property, and they're kind of fun to look at. Like I said, there's many, many more, and these are all no charge to join or sign up. So look at them and use them. So let's take a look at some of them. So this is auction.com. And one of the things that I really like about this one, like I said, is that I can just search. I can search an address. I can search the type of foreclosure, whether it's a foreclosure sale or it's already been foreclosed on and the bank or somebody is reselling it. Let's see. And then you would go to the different schedule for active, schedule for auction. And then you go to the different websites that it would tell you where it's all being auctioned at once you look inside of it. And then you go to auction there. One thing to remember, all of these auctions, just about all of them, all have a buyer's premium, and it's usually 4.5% or 6.25 of the bid amount. So it's of the sale price. It's 4.5% of that bid is added onto it, also with another $299 technology fee, and then you have to put a binder on it. So what that means is, say I place this bid, my bid will be for $127,000 for this property, plus 4.5%, and then the binder. But this is Hubzu. I actually do a lot of stuff in Hubzu. Like I said, I like to search on. I just go Duval County, Florida, Clay County, wherever, Nassau County, wherever you're looking. It shows all the properties. You just kind of look through them. Is it the 4.5%? So that's Hubzu. Most of these are also in the MLS. Sometimes if they're not in the MLS, then that means that they're probably someone is still living in there. So that's something to keep in mind because you will be responsible for evicting them. Let's see. This is Auction Zip, which I told you. Like I said, you can just about bid on anything, anywhere, any state. Motorcycles, guns. It's a bit of a black hole. I've lost many hours of time in there. Let's see. And then here's the Duval County Clerk. And as I told you, this is I think a tax deed sale that's coming up. So, and they only have it usually once a month. So here's a property that's being auctioned at the tax deed. It'll start at 8 a.m. right online. You can watch it online, everything being bid. In order to bid, you need to make sure that you have deposited with the city of Jacksonville at least, I think, 5% of the purchase price. And that needs to be, it'll be on an account for you. And they won't let you bid unless you do that, unless you have at least 5% of the purchase price of what you're bidding on. You can wire the money there, but unless you do it at least 4 days in advance, there's no guarantee that it'll be in your account. So the best bet is to go the day of the auction or prior to the auction with a cashier's check down to the city, so that you have the money in there. Once you do that, you'll have to fill out paperwork. The city will send you information on how to do it. You have 12 days. Before you close, because the seller has 11 days, or anybody has 11 days to contest the foreclosure. So on the 12th day, you will go and pay in cash. Most of these auctions are cash. Some do finance. So when you're looking at doing auctions on no matter what website it is, make sure that you know that you have your money, you have your cash, you have your proof of funds, you have your pre-approval, whatever it is, and that they do, and the type of financing that they allow, if any. All these city web pages, the city ones, are all cash. Let's see. So, okay, so say you've searched through all of these auction sites, and you have found a property that you like. What's the next thing that you do? I usually go to the city website. I like to and see if any permits have been pulled. When was the last time the electrical was updated, the mechanical, which would be the AC, the roof, or the plumbing. So that kind of gives me an idea of how much in repairs it's going to need on some of the major items. I call JEA and I ask if there's power still turned on there, and that will let me know if there's somebody still living there that I might need to have vacate. The City of Jacksonville requires if the electricity has been off for a year or longer, you will need to have an electrical inspection, and before they'll turn it on, and that's a couple $100, and that takes some time, so that's important to note. After I've done that, I usually I use a product called RPR, but that's really only for realtors. I go to, just like you could go to Realtor or Zillow.com. You can also go over to my web page. And if you scroll down over here, it says My Home Value, get your report. If you put an address in, this is a house I'm flipping now this way. It will use RPR, which is what I use, Zillow, and the MLS to kind of give you an idea of the price. So I know that it's closer to 125, and then after I put in a second bathroom in it, it'll put a little closer up to, what's that, 130, 135 is what I was thinking I was going to sell it at. So I like to look at all of them. Zillow is either too high or too low, but sometimes it's dead on, so it's good to look at all of them. So you're welcome to use that. And then you would need to see if you can try and either get in the property, walk around the property, look at the property, and always call a realtor and ask for their opinion, or if they can help you and they can represent you. This way, that puts an extra level of protection against you and your investment. All right, things to remember. Not all auctions offer financing or accept financing. Some will, but most will not. Some require you to bind or to bid. Like I told you, they hold it for 24 to 78 hours after sale. And not all allow you to cancel a bid. Most of these are investors investor properties, so they are being sold as is, and no contingency. There's no inspections. There's no financing contingency. You buy it. Some of them, I said, are still occupied, and you'd be responsible to evict the tenants and the homeowners. Some of them require a realtor to do the bidding for you, so you need to work with a realtor. And some of them don't allow a realtor to bid for you, so it's important that you do your due diligence on these auction sites. The highest bid wins. It doesn't always mean the seller will accept your offer. They can have a reserve, and the seller sometimes has the right to, if it's not high enough, to go to put the auction back out. Some of those that we just saw on Hubzu, I've seen them come up for auction at least 5 times now. Important things to remember: do your due diligence, read everything, get help from a realtor, broker, or real estate attorney. Check and see if the auction that you're selling to does co-op, so that a realtor can help you. Have your financing or your pre-approval in order prior to to bidding, because if you win, you'll need to have your proof of funds or your pre-approval, your entity documents, which is how you want to take title. And if you have an LLC, you'll need those documents. And your earnest money, you'll need at least 10% down. Usually it's either wire it, send it right away. Know your auction rules and requirements. Get title insurance. I should have mentioned this a second ago. So you can call some of the title companies, and I think Sunshine Title is one that does it, and ask them to run a title search for you. They'll do a quick one to see if there's anything funny about the title, and it's usually about $35, $55 for them to do that for you. So that on the county foreclosures, it usually takes 200 days if there's nothing funny or no changes to foreclose on a house. The homeowner, so the house could be empty for almost a year or longer. A homeowner or a borrower, they can stop the foreclosure all the way up until the day of the sale. So you could do all your due diligence, and the day of the sale, they could take it off. It's just something to keep in mind. And they have 10 days after sale for any objections. Let's see. And then I said, if you found a property, now what? Go to the Duval County Permits, check for nuisance liens and permits, and that's the website. Call the title company and ask them to check the title, the utility. Check the tax records, check for the square footage and the floor plan on there. So if you can't get into the property, so you can get a better idea. Sometimes it's good to see what was original, if they added on a whole extension and maybe there wasn't any permits pulled with that. That could be a flag. Go to Google Street View and look around and see what the other houses in the neighborhood look like. Take a little tour around, and then of course go visit it. Let's see, actual bidding. Many of the websites are straightforward, similar to eBay. The city requires a 5% of bid amount deposited in your account. Your fund can take a couple days. I kind of told you that. Some bidding is done in minutes, hours, days, weeks. Most auctions have a technology fee and a buyer's premium. So keep that in mind. So when you're bidding, you have that plus that price. And the county foreclosure auctions require payment in full by 4 o'clock of the day that you win, or you forfeit your 5% down. Many of the auction sites will send you a contract, and they'll fill out and spell it out in the email, everything that you need to do. If you don't have they'll send it to your realtor if you have a realtor representing you, and they'll go through it and get all the paperwork together and then show you what you need to do. If you don't have a realtor, please be sure to read all the documents, know where and when you will wire your funds, find out the total purchase price, including the premium. And then on the county auction site, you go down 11 days after you've paid to close. Let's see. I just said anyone can auction a house. So on the tax deed, there's a lot of questions. The tax deed erases all previous liens except other government liens. So government and government is pretty even there. I think after you purchase a property that you bought for a tax deed or even a foreclosure, I recommend paying for an attorney for a quiet title, and that usually costs about $1,000 to $1,500. It'll take 8 to 10 weeks, but it's basically a lawsuit that they bring to court to eliminate all claims against it. So if there's other liens, it should wipe them out if the judge approves it. And I think that's really about it in a nutshell. See if there's any other websites that I wanted to go over. That's the tax deed one. One of the nice things about the Duval County Clerk, so if you want to, you can go down here and you can go to the foreclosure sales or the tax deed sales of a few other states and of all of these counties in Florida. So if anybody has any questions, or they want me to go over anything in more detail, please call me, email me, text me. Be glad to meet. If you have some auction properties that you want to bid on, um, just give me the addresses. I'll be glad to represent you to bid on them, and I'll do most of the due diligence for you and share it with you. So um, I guess that's it. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.